The Knicks postgame show is presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. Tonight, Mike Brown warmly received in his return to Sacramento. 5 minutes in, Jalen Brunson, that troublesome right ankle. The Knicks say he hurt that right ankle. It's the same ankle he hurt last year and the same ankle he hurt earlier this year. The former Knick Precious Achiuwa's best game as a King. 20 points and 14 rebounds, doing in his old squad, and the Kings beat the Knicks tonight 112-101. Great to have you with us, everyone, from our Delta MSG studios. Bill Pidto along with Wally Szczerbiak. So Brunson gets hurt early in the game. Even when he was in there, the Knicks really didn't seem to have it. First half, Knicks shoot 1 of 19 from downtown, and they really didn't seem to be in this game, Wally, tonight at all.
It was just something weird in the air out there in Sacramento. Jalen Brunson goes down, no contact, nothing, just dribbling, setting up a screen and roll, just makes a wrong step, sprains his ankle, the troublesome ankle, like you mentioned. You got to hope that he's going to be okay, because that's the biggest concern that could come out of probably the worst performance of the season. You can just tell the way this team started, something wasn't right. 1 for 19 shooting in the first half. You thought they would make a push. They cut it to, I think, 16 or so after halftime, but they never made a push in the third quarter. And this veteran team of the Kings, led by Precious Achiuwa, who had obviously something to play for, having been in a New York Knicks uniform last year, they came out like pros, and they sent a message to the Knicks that you better play well if you want to win games in the NBA.
You got former Knicks all over the Kings organization. You got Scott Perry as a GM. Mike Miller and Mike Woodson are assistant coaches, 2 former Knicks head coaches, and Achiuwa had his best game of the year. Let's show everyone again the injury to Jalen Brunson. He went 2 of 3 before he got hurt. Well, he finished the game with 4 points, and here's the obvious tweak to that right ankle.
Yeah, and this is nothing there. He's just going to maybe set up a move, go into his little shimmy shake to try to do a step back, but he just makes a wrong step. And, you know, you do that, and the ankle just tweaks. You know, Mike Brown's thinking he's going to be okay, went to go help him up, but obviously Jalen knows his body better than anyone else. He couldn't come back in the basketball game, and that's just a microcosm of how the Knicks, you know, played as a team. It's something that is mind-boggling for a guy to go down with no contact or something like that, but that can happen, and hopefully he'll be all right. He's got to get that ankle right. That's the biggest thing that can come out of this game. The loss is the loss. Losses are going to happen. You're going to have terrible performances. You got to let this go. You got to move on. You got another game tomorrow night. But you've got to hope that Jalen Brunson is going to get back healthy and get that ankle strong.
So the Knicks 17 first quarter points, worst first quarter of the year, 42 first half points, tied for their worst scoring in a first half all year. And despite all that, the 1 of 19 shooting from 3 in the first half, they're only down by 14 at the break. However, they could not mount a run early in the second half.
Yeah, and Westbrook played big minutes. He had 19 points. Precious Achiuwa knocking down threes, waving at people, and, you know, saying that, you know, he didn't shoot a lot of threes in a New York Knicks uniform, but he sure shot him at a high percentage tonight. And he was active on the defensive end of the floor. Dylan Cardwell was banging people around. Karl Anthony Towns only had 4 rebounds in this whole entire game, and he played 30-plus minutes. So this physical, aggressive Kings team, led by Precious Achiuwa and Cardwell down low, they took it to the Knicks from the start. Mikal Bridges tried to get going in the second half. He was 1 for 7 in the first half, ended the game 6 for 20. You know, got a couple buckets to go, but you can't give life to guys like Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. These guys have been notorious Knick killers over the years in whatever uniforms they've been in, and these guys just lit the Knicks up. DeRozan had 27. Zach LaVine, 9 for 16, 25 points. Overall, this is a game you just throw in the trash, flush it, throw the box score in the trash. Don't even look at those numbers. Just get some sleep and get ready for tomorrow's game, guys.
All right, well, the heck with the numbers. Of note here, the Knicks only 8 of 41 from downtown. The only thing that saved them was points in the paint. They had 50 to the Kings 34.
Well, they better have points in the paint because they couldn't make anything from outside. They better get offensive rebounds, which they did. They had 16. Kings only had 9. When you miss all your shots, you better be getting the extra ones. It's just to get extra attempts. And the Knicks, at least led by Mitchell Robinson, who he's the one guy I thought, you know, came to work and played well today. He put in an honest effort, He rebounded the ball very, very well. But other than Mitch, there wasn't too many other guys that played up to their capabilities.
All right, we touched on Precious Achiuwa. What's interesting is he was initially signed this offseason by the Heat, and they cut him.
Yeah.
He didn't make the Heat.
Yeah.
He comes to Sacramento. He's now a starter. He's now started 14 of the last 16 games, and he had his best game of the year. Tonight's thrilling moment brought to you by FanDuel Casino. Get your thrill on. What's it like to do this, Wally, against your former team?
Well, you have a lot of you have a lot to play for when you play your former team, and we saw him play very quality minutes.
When he got minutes with the Knicks, Wally, he played very well.
I'm with you. He was always ready. He always did what he was asked to do. There were playoff moments that were thrilling. You know, when the Knicks were all banged up a couple years ago, he came in and started in the playoffs and was very effective. So this is a guy that can plug holes when you need it. This Kings team obviously decimated with injuries. Sabonis went down with a meniscus tear, so they needed someone to fill that void. And Precious Achiuwa is looking to, you know, continue to play and you know, maximize his NBA career. And the Knicks didn't, you know, for whatever reason, money, whatever, you know, they weren't going to re-sign him. He ended up going to a rival in the Miami Heat, didn't make the team. So he was trying to make a roster. He made a roster, and now he's showing and proving that he can play still in this league. Steve
Novak touched on it during the game, and you've touched on it when you and I have talked. 2 off days on the road. Why can that be a challenge?
Listen, it differs with every player. Like, you need off days just to kind of lick your wounds and heal up. When you're a little banged up, get some rest. But sometimes it takes you out of your rhythm a little bit. You know, sometimes you get into that flow of game, off day prep, play, off day prep. And the Knicks have normally relished 2 days off, and they've normally played well 2 days off. So you can never kind of pinpoint or explain something like this. You just hope it doesn't happen again. And you hope this veteran team, who it doesn't happen to very often, this doesn't become a habit, because this was very uncharacteristic of this professional veteran team, which is the New York Knicks, the way they played tonight.
Bright spot for sure for the Knicks, Mitchell Robinson.
Yes.
Just consistent.
Workmanlike.
Effort.
Yep.
11 more rebounds. 7 of the 11, Wally, on the offensive glass.
Yeah, and the Knicks were throwing up bricks, so he's the guy to have in there to, you know, just clean up the mess. And that's what he did. And he's just so dominant down low. He's done a good job all season long. You know, this is the start of a back-to-back, so you wonder if he's going to play tomorrow. Obviously, the medical team knows how to keep him right and keep him sharp and playing high-quality minutes, which he continued to do tonight, and he's been doing all season long. So that's the most important thing. With Mitch, you got to see the forest through the trees and know that you got to keep him healthy. And whatever the protocol is to keep him healthy for the course of the season and dealing with back-to-backs, you have to adhere to that. But he was great. Like, he really played hard tonight. You know, you saw his effectiveness, and it was good to see him at least get after it out there.
We've talked a lot about this. Knicks are not the only team this happens to, it seems, in the modern-day NBA. When the threes are not going down, it seems like the rest of the game suffers. Knicks go 1 of 19, as we've repeated now, in the first half from 3. It just seems like the wind comes completely out of their sails in other aspects of their game. Not just the Knicks. It seems like that's how it is league-wide.
That's human nature, no question. But I kind of think the Knicks hit the 56 points in the first half for Sacramento. Like, I thought it was an honest effort on defense. There were times where there were some communication issues where the Knicks were not switching right and they were blowing some coverages, definitely. But overall, you know, I thought this wasn't an effort thing to me.
It seemed like there was a lid on the basket.
It was more of a focus thing to me. That's what it seemed like. Sometimes you go out west, you know, you get into warm weather, you're in Sacramento, you're coming off Phoenix, you're just in Portland, you're kind of away, and you're away from your own bed, you're moving from hotel to hotel, you're practicing in different gyms and all over the place, and you just kind of, you lose your compass, you lose your bearings. And normally, you know, this team, no matter what, you know, all the challenges of being on the road, they can just compartmentalize, they can refocus, and they can get to work when they need to get to work. Tonight, you could just tell they did not have it. To start the game, the way they were shooting, the way they were playing, the shots they were missing, I was saying to myself, this could be a long night unless they figure it out really quick. And it turned out they really couldn't figure it out the whole entire game. And they better to hope it doesn't carry over to tomorrow, because that's what you can't let happen as a professional. You cannot let a game like this carry over into tomorrow. You have to get back to playing the way you're capable of tomorrow night.
All right, let us bring in Monica McNutt from Sacramento. helped call the game on ESPN New York on the radio. What do you think tonight, Monica?
Well, I'm just going to take my my earpiece out, put my mic down, because everything Wally said, I repost, retweet, whatever you do on social media.
Monica, thanks for joining us, my friend.
I'm done.
Thank you.
I don't want to talk
You
about
out.
this anyway, so I'm out of here. No, just kidding. Not kidding. I agree with Wally 100%. I don't know where these folks were tonight, but they were not present in this ball game. And shout out to Dan Graca, who was holding it down for us for our pre and post game on the radio. And he tried to maybe pin it to Jalen Brunson going out with 5 minutes in. And I was like, Dan, I can't even give you that, because I don't think they were at the tip. Like, it just was not, it didn't feel right. It didn't look good. And I will say, you lose Jalen Brunson, your chances of a comeback, obviously, it becomes even more challenging. But I'm doing my best, y'all, to keep this in perspective of the grand scheme of things, right? It's 1 of 82. We're approaching, what are we, officially less than a month away from the All-Star break. We know that, this time of year, things get bogged down. And so on the one hand, I want to give grace for that. But on the other hand, you've got real expectations. And to me, every opportunity to grow and get better, when you talk about this team shoring up its defense for what they hope to do in the postseason, you got conflicting thoughts, but this is part of the 82-game season.
I'm with you, Monica. It was just, you look at the opposing team's bench. There's former Knicks coaches on that bench. There's Scott Perry. It just seemed like a voodoo-ish weird day. Like, that's the only thing I can pinpoint. Like, you just gotta put the voodoo dolls away and just forget about this one and move on to the next one. That's all you can do, because this was very uncharacteristic, Monica, I think, of this team. We have not seen this at all, this type of performance, and I could just tell there was something going on weird from the start.
Was there a lid on the basket, Monica, the first half? I mean, seriously.
Listen, I think we've seen nights where it's like, oh, this defense got to get better, but your offense saves you. Or we've seen nights where it's like, the offense isn't showing up, but they managed to at least put together some fortitude, some stops in the paint. There was nothing on either side of the basketball for almost this entire game, if you exclude that small push in the fourth quarter. So, listen, so much was made, and you guys know this, of the headline that the Knicks finally had their first 2 days off. I'm not going to tell anybody how to spend their time off, because I know I relish time off. But I will say, just from a human element standpoint, sometimes when you stop and you look ahead at, I got to get back up, but, do I have to get back up? They've only won 10 games. It is just the human experience, and so they just didn't have it tonight. They didn't bring it.
All right, Monica, we'll talk to you tomorrow night. Hopefully better things ahead for the Knicks tomorrow night at Golden State.
Hope so.
All right, Mike Brown's post-game comments coming up. 40 games in now as Knicks are 25-40. We'll get the coach's perspective on his return to Sacramento, which results in a loss.
The Knicks post-game show is presented by Audi. Visit your Tri-State Audi dealer today.
Welcome back. Kings beat the Knicks tonight, 112-101. Mike Brown losing in his return to Sacramento. His post-game comments presented by Chase.
You give Sacramento a lot of credit. They did a great job defensively and offensively against us throughout the course of the game. The thing that they kicked our behind, but the thing I'm most disappointed in, we're a team that touches the paint and sprays the basketball. We had 12 sprays for the game, and we had plenty of opportunities to spray the ball and to play off of 2 feet, but we kept driving and shooting tough shots that we either A, missed, or B, got blocked. And, for us to touch the paint as many times as we did, but not share it or move it like we normally do, it was tough to see. The next thing is, we're a no-middle team, and we gave up middle drive after middle drive after middle drive. Give Precious Achua a lot of credit. He was with us he was with me during the Nigerian national team, and he had a big game. He impacted the game in a lot of ways, and he had 20 and 14. But he's a guy that when you close out on him, we want to be the second jumper. And to start the game, we ran him off the line like 3 times. And so we didn't do a good job of following our game plan tonight. You want to close his body and keep him on the sideline. And force him to put the ball on the ground and make plays. But we didn't just run him off the line. We ran Russ off the line a couple of times early in the game as well, which created the dominoes or started the dominoes for them to fall. But their entire team played a good basketball game tonight, or especially their starting five. And so to give up as many middle drives as we did was tough to watch. And then lastly, we just fouled. I wish I could sit here and blame the referees, but I can't blame the referees. We just, every time they drove the basketball, and they drove it with force. I even told our guys, I said, they're driving to your chest. We're driving away from the basket and trying to shoot a difficult shot. And when they drive at your chest, we're sticking our hands out. And when you stick your hands out, it's going to be a foul. And, we probably stuck our hands out 2 or 3 times alone in that third quarter. But to send the team, especially on the road, to the free throw line for 20 free throws, I think, in the third quarter. I think they had 20 free throws in the third quarter. That's tough to overcome. And, our especially our one-on-one defense was non-existent tonight because all we did was foul and send it to the free throw line. So, tough night. We got to get ready for a tough one tomorrow, but we cannot play the way we played today. This is one of the worst, if not the worst, that I've seen us play the entire year in terms of following a game plan and keeping the game simple.
Exactly what you said in terms of their performance. The disparity at the foul line. Knicks 15 of 23, Kings 32 of 38. Coach says don't blame the refs. We fouled them.
Yep. They just were a step slow on every coverage. And Coach summed it up. Their one-on-one defense was not good. And I think this is the worst performance, having seen the way they played against Portland, having 2 days off, feeling like this team maybe is finding themselves a little bit, and then just to lay a complete egg like they did, very uncharacteristic of this team. Can't have it linger, and you got to play a lot better tomorrow night.
Welcome back to the Knicks postgame show. Corner 3 here, presented by Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer. So the Kings beat the Knicks 112 to 101. One of the things we're talking about in the pregame show, the interesting composition of the Kings roster.
Yeah.
You got Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, who as teammates in Chicago never really won. And now they're with the Kings. Of course, they came into this game, the Kings 10 and 30, but LaVine can still play. He's 30 years old. DeRozan is 36. He can still do it, especially from the mid-range, 27 points. And Russell Westbrook is 37 years old. He can still play. Now, it remains to be seen if these guys are going to be on the Kings roster going forward, but these guys have solid games, even at their advanced stages of their careers.
Yeah, and they were supposed to be pieces around Sabonis, the all-star, who's been an all-star for a couple years, and also Keegan Murray, who's a young, up-and-coming wing.
And Dennis Schroeder, by the way, has been this third game of his 3-game suspension.
Yeah, on paper, you look at the roster, and when healthy, it looks like they could be a formidable team, but they've been decimated by injuries. And at this point, the Knicks had an opportunity to play a team that was very undermanned tonight. And those 3 guys, they saw an opportunity to continue their win streak going. Precious Achiuwa with a lot to play for against his old team in the Knicks. And they all took it to the Knicks the whole entire 48 minutes.
Don't know about Jalen Brunson. Knicks say it's a right ankle injury. Again, they're at Golden State tomorrow, and then they got to travel home and play Phoenix on Saturday and Dallas on Monday. It does not get any easier schedule-wise, and we'll see about Mitchell Robinson tomorrow night, the second of a back-to-back. And we don't know about Brunson. Hopefully he's not out long-term with that re-injured right ankle. But we're being somewhat repetitive, but the schedule doesn't make things easy at all.
No, it's tough. 2 days off, back-to-back. You're right. That's going to be a long trip back from
and Phoenix already beat them here this week.
Yeah, from Golden State. And then you got to play Phoenix on Saturday and then a 5 o'clock start on Monday. But there's no excuses. Knicks got to get back into a rhythm. They played a good game against Portland. I did not see this one coming.
All right, Knicks go down to the Kings. We'll continue with more right here on MSG. Kings 112. Knicks 101. That is the final tonight from Sacramento.
The Knicks postgame show is presented by Audi. Visit your Tri-State Audi dealer today.
So tomorrow night, the Knicks at the Warriors, pregame 9:30, game at 10. And then, as we just discussed, Knicks have to come home and play Phoenix on Saturday. 5 p.m. start on Martin Luther King Day at home against Dallas and then home against Brooklyn on the 21st. That is a week from tonight. We'll wrap things up here on the Knicks postgame show presented by Mercedes-Benz right after this. Wrapping up the postgame show, we'll see you tomorrow night. The fourth game and last game of this road trip with the Knicks at Golden State. Pregame 9:30, game at 10. And also stream our coverage on the Gotham Sports App. Want more than just a postgame show? Link your eligible TV subscription to stream Knicks games free or subscribe today in the Gotham Sports App. Just go to gothamsports.tv to learn more.